I'm Dr. Laura Ping, and my TEDxBellarmine is about liberation through fashion. I'm Dr. Laura Ping. Yeah, clothing is something that's a nonverbal language. We communicate every day when we get dressed, whether we think about it or not, even if we're just grabbing the clean clothes off the top of the pile, there's a reason we own those clothing. And I think that the stories of the women I study are really important. And so I wanted to help people connect to this idea that clothing can be a language through stories of women, but also challenge people to think about how clothing affects their daily lives. Yeah, so I'm an academic, which is its own language. And so initially the talk was similar, but the language was a lot more academic, for lack of a better way to explain it, just jargony. And so one of the things that was a challenge for me in editing was to explain something that I usually explain in great amounts of detail, succinctly, but also in a way that was going to make sense to the audience. Just being able to communicate my research to people that may not be reading history books on a regular basis. It's fun. There is no expectation that you have a knowledge about liberation before you walk in the door. Let us tell you stories and challenge you to answer some questions that we pose and investigate what liberation might mean to you after the talks. Oh, liberation is scary. It's something that I think comes with a lot of bravery, but a lot of rewards. So being on stage is actually terrifying. It's not the same thing as leading a class where I can ramble and go off on all the tangents I want. So it's incredibly intimidating, but being able to share my message is incredibly important to me. My mantra on everything right now is good enough is good enough, because that takes the perfectionism out of it and just allows us to be human, and if we make mistakes or we stumble a little, that's okay. Yeah, so I try to go to visualize something that makes me feel calm, which is this really funny image I have in my head of my beagle basset hound running through a field chasing butterflies. He's not at all coordinated, and we used to live in an apartment building that had a huge field behind it, and we'd go out there for walks, and he just loved to chase butterflies, but with his ears flopping and his big paws. And it makes me feel calm, but it makes me laugh too, so it reminds me not to be too serious.
Claiming racial equality for themselves. But women were not the only ones that were pushing back against conservative clothing in the first half of the 20th century that girls wore dresses, especially red dresses. During the Depression, most families couldn't afford new clothing, let alone extra fabric.